The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
Welcome ye to Pirate Town by the seven seas. We make merry in the groggery before we catch the breeze. With tin whistle, fiddle and bowron, we play a merry tune. We sing for the jolly heretic, may it never be marooned. And so to Captain Cooner, lads, raise your tankards high, and to the barkeep Dutton, but don't leave our glasses dry. One for fellow sailors Curtis, Quinones and Gottfried, another for those lost at sea, Charlemagne and Turnip Seed. We pray you find the Red Hawk and follow the safer shores. No pirate is forgotten on the greatest man o' war. Rum, grog, pint of gatto or whiskey, don't waste a single drip. The best crew of drunken buccaneers to ever man a ship. The pirates of our vessel, the brothers of this manor bun, will sail the bitter waves until our fertile lands return. You scallywags, you scurvy dogs, sing while the tavern's lit. We sing for the old glory club and the jolly heretic. The people of Carnadia once were a hardy folk, descendants of Albion from many years ago. We are not the tyrants that so many villagers might say. We see the darkness spread from the lands of Facon Gay. Danger fields once a forest, now just muddy sand. So it's on the chopping waves where we make our stand. We raise the sail, we raise the flag, we honour what has passed. No bust, we fly our colours proudly high atop the mast. In a shanty town of cutthroats, we sing the rebel songs. Curse to the knaves and landlubbers that say we're doing wrong. We curse their tongues, we curse their laws, we curse every lie. We shall sail against the bitter wind until the tyrants die. The pirates of our vessel, the brothers of this manor bun, will sail the bitter waves until our fertile lands return. You scallywags, you scurvy dogs, sing while the tavern's lit. Oh, we sing for the old glory club and the jolly heretic. And if ye want to join us, you may perish in the deep. There's no solace for the exiles, no promises to keep. for the Iandel and the Celestine and symbols of the West. We drink to warm the cockles and put hairs upon the chest. We traded rocky roads and heartache for these blistered hands. We go free with no guilt or shame, the true Prometheans. We break the butter rings and sharpen shattered blades. With rubber grit we gritted, team on the unforgiving way. It's the pirates of our vessel, the brothers of this manor bun will sail the bitter waves until our fertile lands return. You scallywags, you scurvy dogs, sing while the tavern's lit. We sing for the Old Glory Club and the Jolly Heritage. The pirates of our vessel, the brothers of this manor bun will sail the bitter waves. We have nowhere left to run. You scallywags, you scurvy dogs, sing while the crabber's lit. We sing for the dying light and the Jolly Heritage.
Eyes shining bright with unspilled tears, thinking about all those wasted years, when everything worth living for is gone. And brother, I find it hard to keep fighting on.
Drowning in the argument, the anti-whiteness. What exactly is anti-white? You have got to be animated. You have got to be righteous passion, reclaiming our destiny. We are the heroes. We are the heroes of this era.
Let me know that you can hear me okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. It's Church of the West, and you are with your hierarch. We were just listening to Radio White Wellbeing. You can find that at the Foundation for White Wellbeing.org. The Foundation for White Wellbeing. That is the white man's ADL. I assume the audio is working. The white man's ADL, the white man's NAACP. And you head on over there, you'll find the link right at the very top, and you'll be able to listen 24/7. Part of the good work that we are doing here. The revolution needs a soundtrack is one of the most important things that we can possibly do. And we provide it. Great to see everybody who has shown up here today. A host of magnificent things. Sound is good. Thank you, Wes. A host of things to get to. You can also financially gift yours truly, and you could do so on the app that permits cash. You could do so on Subscribestar. You could do so on Buy Me a Coffee, which is brand new, and we'll probably take a look at that as well. The links are in the description below, as well as Premium Rumble, and you're going to want to tag me on any of those, as well as these additionals. YouTube, which will switch over to live chat rather than top chat, on Entropy for commenting only, of course, right here on X. And I don't know, is Odyssey working? I guess we'll have to find out whether or not Odyssey works today. Well, wouldn't you know, Odyssey is working today. We can fix anything. Bone Sick Core is the only champion showing up so far on Premium Rumble. Let folks know that we're live. And the very first item we're going to be getting to here is something to be really happy about. Let's see if we can add that to the screen. Look at that. Heroic teen lifeguard saved a boy, I think the boy was 9 or so, from the pounding California surf. Rescued others that day as well. I think he's 16 years of age, and a young white man there. Big Promethean salutes to this champion, a teenage lifeguard lauded by President Donald Trump for risking his life to save a 10-year-old from the monster waves at a Santa Cruz beach. Rescued even more swimmers that day, his proud family revealed. I'm going to have to read some more with you all to see how, to see whether or not the things I've heard so far have been accurate. But what an absolute example of Western kind. What a beast. What a Westman. What a Westman. You're going to be hearing all of these other terms elsewhere, but what a Westman is the biggest honor that you can receive. Ryder Williams, only 16 years of age, who said they're trying to shield the humble teen from the national attention following the dramatic Saturday rescue, told the California Post that he was back in action at his lifeguard station Tuesday. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that he was just certified the other day and hired to work, or one of those, at least hired to work. And apparently the ocean was calm and then suddenly became unforgivable, as the ocean can become. And people were getting swept out, including this 10-year-old little boy, and doing his job. No excuses about why it went wrong, like a certain attorney. No excuses. Went out, did his job for which he was trained, and an ace. Swam out there, grabbed a hold of the little 10-year-old and started bringing him back in. And the amazing thing, and we'll have an opportunity to look at a little bit of the footage when we're on the quick news and laughs, is that, once it got to about waist deep, a bunch of men waded out into the water, finally to help this 16-year-old. I wouldn't be able to watch a 16-year-old by himself. There's just no way. I would be in it, even if it meant I was dead as well. But they waited until it was about waist deep, and they then decided they were going to go out and help him, and they had to retreat. Even in waist deep water, the waves were coming in at like 8-10 feet, and they just couldn't handle it. And this Ryder was his name. He just kept turning his back, ducking down, holding his breath, and then popping up the other side, get his footing again. And it was truly amazing. So big salutes, big salutes. Ryder's heroics didn't end with him saving the 10-year-old with a viral video of the Brave Act, even capturing the attention of President Donald Trump. This is how it should actually be done. So let's hear for the Trump administration, okay? Let's get out the big raucous emojis, Promethean salutes for Donald Trump and the Trump administration. This is how it's done. As a country, we're supposed to celebrate the acts of heroism, the acts of masculinity. That's what we're supposed to do. And this is, it couldn't be more masculine. He had 2 rescues after that on the same day, according to his grandfather, George Williams. There's the young man. I love it. I absolutely love this. We should, our young men, we should be a country of this. We should be a civilization of this. Ryder participated in 5 rescues during his Saturday lifeguard shift. He's doing great. We're so overwhelmed, added his father, a 54-year-old retired firefighter. I'm trying to shelter him. I still see him as a little boy. Well, of course. The terrifying drama unfolded Saturday at Seabright Beach in Santa Cruz when powerful waves dragged the 10-year-old swimmer into the churning surf. As horrific beachgoers watched from the shore, Ryder plunged into the water and battled the unrelenting waves to reach the boy before bringing him safely back to shore. The family's remarkable weekend took another unexpected turn Tuesday when Trump announced that Ryder would receive the highest civilian honor for bravery. God dang. Now you know what's going to happen is all the anti-whites, both on the left and the right, are going to be clamoring for, well, now you gotta have some female heroes, and you gotta have some black heroes, and you gotta have some Hispanic heroes and some Asian. No, you don't have to do that. Actual feats of heroism. Here come the other full-grown men. Look, they can't even waist deep. You should be, if you're a full-grown man, you should almost be in good enough shape. Should be the goal. Not everybody's going to get there. We have obvious, a lot of things in life that get in the way, health and etc. Birth defects, injuries over the years, but you should almost be in good enough shape to go out there and pick Ryder and the 10-year-old up and run for dry ground. But at a bare minimum, You got to get this. The 10-year-old can't help himself. You got to take the load off of Ryder at 16 years of age. Asked whether the boy would travel to D.C., he replied, "I'm not sure. No one from the White House has reached out yet." He added, "Oh, they'll be reaching out, and you better show up. You better show up." Let's hear it for Ryder, ladies and gentlemen. Big Promethean salutes to this hero of the West. Yes. Let's get into our quick news and laughs, shall we?
Right now, ICE planning dramatically to ramp up operations to deport Haitian migrants here in the U.S.
Yes.
This after the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Trump team, ruling that TPS, known as temporary protected status, is temporary. Federal sources telling Fox that Ohio is heavily targeted. Let's get into that now with Chad Wolf, former acting DHS secretary. Thanks for coming back, and good day to you. Here are the numbers as they only apply to Haiti during the Biden years, going back to fiscal year 2025. I would draw the attention of our viewers to that bottom line number. Total encounters of Haitians under the Biden administration, almost 500,000. Chad, what now?
Yeah, look, Haiti had TPS since 2010, so going on almost 16 years, where each administration just kept extending it and extending it. And I think the Trump administration, as they have across about 9 or 10 different countries, have said that temporary.
So just pay attention to that. Republican and Democrat administrations, they kept flooding the country with anti-white, non-white people.
Protective status is just that. It's temporary. So the idea is that these individuals, if they don't adjust status, will need to leave the country, and ICE is there to enforce that order of removal.
Okay, so Chad, here's my question. I remember.
That's how they should go back. I mean, I don't know. I guess Jamaica, it's going to be a long swim, but that's how they should be made to return. Let's hear for the Trump administration, ladies and gentlemen. And anybody trying to undermine the Trump administration demonstrates that they don't care about the white race.
Remember when this was happening, there were several countries who were given TPS, and Haiti was just one of them. So why is the attention on the Haitians right now, or is this just the first group?
Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be on the Haitians. I think it's going to be on all of those individuals, like I said, across 8 or 9 different countries that the administration has ended TPS on. They're all going to be targets for removal. And so I don't think it'll just be the Haitians.
I love it. Give it up for Donald Trump. Hartman says, no white guilt is the voice of sanity in an insane world. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Juliet says, stream shared. Thank you so much for all you do. And thank you for sharing. That's an epic form of swashing. What do we have up here next for quick news and laughs? Well, when you know it, Grok was asked about buying gas stations and what would happen between a white man and a man from India. Grok says that if an American white man and an Indian man were trying both to purchase the same rural gas station, the Indian would have access to over $200,000 in racial government loans that discriminated against white Americans. Not very well written here, but we've talked about this endlessly. This is how Indians have bought up all of the gas stations. It's not because they are superior at providing service at gas stations. It's because we were robbed by anti-whites. And this is only one example of money that they can access on the basis of their race, according to Grok. So you'll have to check it out for yourself. But we've talked about this forever. And this is why, especially when it comes to Indians, this is the new managerial class. These are your new bosses. The same thing happened with Koreans and laundromats and nail salons. They specifically were giving taxpayer dollars, loans that are forgiven, and grants that never have to be paid back of various types, both state and federal and NGO, that make it impossible to compete against them. Every gas station in the Northern Virginia-esque and moving away from Northern Virginia were owned by rednecks back in the day. And I watched them gas station by gas station, even the holdouts who tried to hold out as long as they could, get bought out by Indians that brought ungodly sums of money to the table so that they would have to work for like another 20 years to make that amount of money at their gas station. And of course, they're going to end up taking the money and leaving. And now things that were normal, like the air for your tires, were free, just as one of many examples. Now, with the Indians in charge, you got to pay $2.50 for air. Here's the young man, rider, saving. Look at that. I'm inclined to think that that non-white guy is the father of the 10-year-old. Look at this. This is completely, the entire frame is a wave. They all retreat in a moment. Can you believe this total stud Westman did this at 16? Oh my God, so many Promethean salutes. Total stud Westman. Her, will you come over? Him, I can't drive, I'm blind. Her, I'm horny. Him. Ah, yes. You can see the whole stick there. He's going to make it over one way or another. Oh, boy. Take a look at this little dog. He's not so sure about getting in that pool learning how to swim.
All right, buddy. Today's the big day. This is our official swimming lesson. We're going to take it nice and easy.
He's like, are you sure about this shit?
Gotcha, okay? We're just going to let you feel the water.
Aww.
It's okay, baby. You're okay.
I don't know. That might even be AI, but it's funny. Oh, my God. This is too funny. Sometimes, Ardent Party. Sometimes the internet spits out some real gold. Wrong number texted me, and I couldn't help myself. Hi, Linda. I just a reminder that Wanda's baby shower is this Saturday at 1 p.m. at Madison Church Hall. Can you bring a side dish? So this guy writes back, absolutely. I'll be bringing 37 big Montanas from Arby's and a cooler full of loose deli ham. This woman writes back, that's too much food. Just a small side dish, please. He writes back, I'll be there precisely at 1:07 p.m. Have the church doors open and the priest ready to bless the beef. And then she writes back question marks, and then he writes back, tell Wanda the meat storm is coming. Oh, back in the day, used to get wrong numbers called to my apartments back in the day. And every time I had an opportunity, I would pick it up and give them some kind of a BS story. This is gold. Ardent Party is absolutely right. This is pure gold. That poor woman, some like church biddy on the other end of that is like, what the hell is wrong with Linda? Bill, what's wrong with Linda? What is she talking about? 37 big Montanas. There's only 8 people coming to the baby shower. A cooler full of loose deli ham. Tell Wanda the meat storm is coming. The only thing I think that could have been added here was to wait about 5 minutes and then text back and say, a crying emoji, I'm sorry, I'm drinking again, and then say, I'll bring some mini quiches. And then they'll be waiting for Linda to show up with these mini quiches. All right, we got to roll. This guy gets accosted while walking through Minneapolis because he's carrying an American flag. Very telling. He's got to run for his life at one point. They're coming after him.
Yep. Call the police.
Idiot. They're talking with their ghetto slang. Call the police. It's police, dipshit.
Call the police. Call the police. This shit hurts my heart, man.
Hurts his heart.
I can't even sit here without feeling like I gotta roll my fucking window up and lock my door because somebody walks by.
And that's because our standards have been white erased.
It's a fucking disgrace. No one can fucking have kids safe down here, especially if you're white, I guess.
And not you guess, especially if you're white. Go ahead and admit it. It's okay. Can we get a woman to pat him on the back of the hand and tell him it's okay? Hold his hand.
This shit's a joke.
It's anti-whiteism.
What the fuck has this state come to?
The entire Western civilization.
I look around every day, I'm like, there's so much exposing I can fucking do. This is a play place for any content creator. I can't get to anything that I want to. There's so much.
What crime is this guy committing? I mean, he's just a white guy walking down the street with an American.
That's the crime. It's the crime is being white, being born white, because of the social morality. If people would listen.
Flag. And not to point out the obvious here, but here you have a black man who's showing.
That's irrelevant. He would behave and be most courteous if we were applying our standards for policing and justice. I can promise you this.
I mean, I think he's black. He could be a different race, but he's showing extreme racism to him.
He's showing extreme anti-whiteism, dum-dum.
Just for walking down the street with an American.
No, it's not just for walking down the street, and it wouldn't matter if he had an American flag. He's white.
American flag. And then if we go down a little bit further in the video, we have this car that pulls up. He's ready.
Yeah, ready to do him in. Yeah, welcome to the world. Here's another problem. So that's a problem for all white people, including white females. But so you got a problem for the white males and another problem for the white males.
Men were so cooked. This morning I was scrolling through Instagram when I came across this girl I used to know. And what this post showed was that after graduation, this girl apparently moved to New York, found some young and successful lawyer, and then got engaged to him. Which is so fucked, because what I realized is that this guy who just spent the last 8 years of his life grinding through law school and building his career has no idea that the girl he's about to marry has a body count in the triple digits. He has no idea that the future mother of his kids used to be hooking up with entire fraternities at a time.
Could you imagine this? Well, repulsive. Guys, females are never going to be honest with you about the body count. Ever. None of them ever. Because the reality is that it's being used up is what it means. So, and then this guy goes on to talk about how you're grinding away to be a success. I'm grinding away to be a success. And then we're going to end up with some female from some other town who's not going to be telling us the truth about her body count and her past and her history. And then all the guys back where she came from are going to be mocking us online because they're going to know what she was really like. 75,000, it says here, about 75,000 non-citizens are on juries in New Jersey every single year. That's just New Jersey, that little tiny state. How many non-citizens are going to be on your jury? You think you're going to get justice then in this anti-white hell when non-citizens who hate you, who hate America, you think you're going to get justice then? How easy is it going to be able to dilate the law and say that your speech is criminal? And for them to say, yes, it is. Because in all of these shithole countries around the world, speech is criminalized. Went bed shopping. Girlfriend didn't like the one I picked out. I guess you need a new girlfriend. That one looks perfect to me. I guess you got to get rid of that girlfriend, especially since she probably has already done all her experimenting and having fun, and now she's ready to settle down. So you pull up with this thing, and she's like, no, thank you. I've done all that already with the whole fraternity. Oh, boy. Molly Elizabeth Duncan, 26, of Beechwood, Ohio, will spend the rest of her life in prison for raping a little baby boy, age 2 years old. Look at her. But you know what? We heard this entire past week that if a woman has blonde hair in braids, that means that she should be worshiped. That means that her conduct is perfect, whatever it is. Didn't we hear that this whole past week? Week and a half now? Didn't we hear blonde hair, braids, time to worship? Do what the lady says or I'm going to kick your ass. Right? Well, this blonde hair with braids was raping a little boy. And now she's going to go to jail for life. I hope they kill her in there. How about this when it comes to the cattle? Have you seen this before? They are putting fire between their legs. It's utterly unacceptable. I had to do it. This, of course, what they're doing here is they're burning the hairs off to reduce bacteria in the milk that these cows produce, and also to prevent their mammary glands from becoming clogged. But I give you this, folks, 2 more years, and white females with a lot of money will be trending on this. They'll have it done at every beauty salon at about $450 a pop. Guaranteed. Fire, open flame between their legs. Got to try this one out. You're in an argument with a woman, just jiggle her arm fat mid-argument. Bet she shuts the F up. Oh, yeah, that'll get her attention. Maybe you reach up to the chin and you grab the meat under her chin and you give it a little bit of a look like, that's looking a little thick. It's looking a little heavy. It's looking a little saggy. You wouldn't have to say anything. Every woman knows immediately, oh my God, no matter how powerful she thinks her point is, if the guy reached out and grabbed a hunk of that arm fat, made a little bit of a face, and then just walked away, that would be the end. She would go cry. That'll be $20, Mohammed. I wonder what that goat did for Mohammed. You know, they sometimes say you can hire goats to come to your property and chew the grass back. Maybe that's what it was for. Oh, California therapist, 26 years of age, pedo-groomed and raped a boy who's probably white. I went through the article and read the responses from the mother, and it definitely sounds like a white mother. So it looks like this little cupcake here was working as a therapist in a juvenile detention center. And she established a relationship with this young teen. And then as soon as he was released, she began raping him. Wood chipper. DeSantis is calling for immediate impeachment of Judge Tiffany Baker. Judge Baker released a child rapist who was a known danger to society. While on bail, the rapist tortured and killed a 5-year-old little girl. Okay, I'm of the opinion that as we recapture our destiny and our norms are put back in place, that judges absolutely should be held accountable. They should be held as accessories when they release someone from jail. In situations like this, we see everywhere all the time. We don't have to worry about the one-off case where the guy seemed like he was a total angel and had served 3 times his normal sentence, and then he went out and committed a crime anyhow. We can have leniency and understanding for judges in those circumstances. In these circumstances, this black bitch is an accessory to the rape and murder of the 5-year-old little girl, and she should get the same penalty that would be had by the person who committed the crime. Anti-white POS. Give it up for this champion and Madison County Sheriff Todd Hood pledged to continue working with ICE despite the fact that the New York Attorney General's office wrote him a letter demanding that he immediately stop working with ICE. Another white man. God bless you, brother. How about this? We all heard about this.
I'm Grace, and this is me hiking.
I'm Grace, and I'm going on a 5-mile hike uphill, even though I weigh 350 pounds and have no stamina and never work out. But I've watched a lot of Hollywood, and Hollywood physics has informed me that I can do anything. Girl power!
And a quarter of the mile up, she starts having palpitations, can't catch her breath, and then they had to bring in a special helicopter equipped to move bison from one field to another, and they hauled this hog off of the side of the mountain. Well, some guy the other day knew about this story. He decided he didn't want to be hauled off any mountain after being impaled by a pole. He decided he was just going to go ahead and walk down the mountain himself. Give it up for the white man. Let's give it up for Stop Anti-Whiteism. The white race will be a people again. I love it. Really give it up for Stop Anti-Whiteism. That is a kick-ass video. In fact, let's watch it a second time. The white race will be a people again. Look at that. NoWhiteGuilt.org. I love these videos he makes. These are going to reach people. Hurry up, son. The owner is coming. Oh, my gosh. How about this one? Charlie Kirk dies for speaking. I really want you all to pay attention to this. Charlie Kirk is murdered for speaking. This is poorly written, as always. Lefties, i.e. anti-whites, quote, good, he deserved it, close quote. Ayatollah dies for taking over 10 million lives since 1979. You could fit anything in there you want, crimes committed by anti-whites. Anti-white says, you can't just kill people you don't like, close quote. So why is this relevant? I want you to remember this at all times. This is something that I figured out a very long time ago. There is no making a case to anti-whites. There is no time that you're going to be able to say to somebody who has a moral compass, which is the anti-whites. They've got a, quote, moral compass that operates like this, that says you speak, and if it undermines anti-whiteism at all, it's good, you're dead, you deserve it. But if someone else or something else kills millions, then they say, you can't just kill people because you don't like them. So do you really think that these people deserve rationalization or can operate rationally? Do you really think they can? So why is it, all of my cuck brothers and sisters, that you keep talking about the double standards? Why is it even in the white, the anti-non-white sphere, we just got a 10 years full in the past week of anti-non-white double standards? Things like, oh, well, the non-white rapists are in the country, but the white woman is the problem because she said a word. Why are you making that case? These are the motherfuckers that you are appealing to. Why would you make that case to them? This is the level of rationalization. You say something that inhibits or undermines anti-whiteism to any degree, and they say, good, you're dead. You deserved it. Anti-whites, white erase whole towns, responsible for gang rapes, for all the gang rapes in some European countries, for almost 100% of the rapes, for almost 100% of the acid attacks, 100% of the machete attacks, and everything. And they say, you can't just punish these people. You can't just wholesale ship them all out. This is the mentality that you make your appeal to, that you present with, look at your double standard. Why are you trying to hold anti-whites to their
precepts, to their mores? Why are you trying to hold them to their standards? What in the fuck? Why don't you just shut up and do what works? For the love of God, read this again if you're having a hard time understanding. Oh, I really like this one.
You know how good it feels to come home and just focus on eating my fucking burrito instead of hearing about a man talk about his day that I don't give a fuck about?
I'm so sorry, sir. The dishwasher was making noises again. You're safe here now. Dinner will be ready in the next 20 minutes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is good. In 97, 14-year-old Nathan Zoner was able to get 43 out of 50 of his classmates to vote to ban dihydrogen monoxide for his science fair project. His project aimed to prove that the use of true facts can lead the ignorant public to false conclusions. He won first place. He listed things like dihydrogen monoxide can cause burns. It causes soil erosion. It's found inside of deadly tumors. So should we ban it? Should we ban it? And all the kids said yes, except for a handful. And of course, dihydrogen monoxide is water. I love this. This is why you have children, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, let's go feed a moo-moo. Oh, look at
Let's go meet a moo-moo.
there's a moo-moo. Cow. The cow says moo. You want to feed him?
This is the sickest sounding cow I've ever heard. Moo.
Moo. He looks so hungry. Moo. You want a carrot to feed it? Cow?
Look at this poor little
Here,
girl.
Winnie. You want to give it to him? Give it to the cow. Ooh, the cow likes that.
I'm glad this, like, says here, at least they recorded this, so she'll have the video to show her therapist when she gets older.
Can you say moo like a cow?
She ends up trying to feed him another carrot. He spits it out. She starts crying. It's hilarious. We got to move on, though. Oh, boy. You know the big techs in Texas? Well, anti-whites are maneuvering to have him remade non-white. This is white erasure. And just watch how the white people, as ignorant as this old anti-white black bitch is, she's talking about needs to have his melatonin changed. And the white people don't know how to respond.
All right, last but not least, who makes a decision about the melatonin of big techs?
I believe the word she's looking for is melanin.
The what? I'm sorry. Melatonin. Can he be tanned? Can he be his skin?
No, so the response right now is not to play ignorant. They immediately know what she meant when she said change the melatonin. And then I would have immediately said, and white people trained with Go Free would have immediately said, what's wrong with keeping him white? What do you got against white people?
Color.
So the white person says, are you talking about his skin color?
Over time, the sun will bleach his skin.
So here's the white woman's coming in here, probably a conservative, because she's not saying, yeah, we need to get rid of him. She's trying to say, well, even if we make him non-white, he'll still get bleached by the sun.
All right, let me break it on down.
So they're pretending like they don't get it. This has not worked since the 1950s when cuckservatism was started. It hasn't worked, white cucks.
1108. We need to know if we can get a more diverse reflection of the melatonin of big
diverse. So as we teach here, diverse means no white people.
text. Is it a problem with him looking like he's perhaps an African American face?
So you see how she goes, is it a problem? So they should have already gone after her and said, is there a problem with him being white? White people created Texas. White people made that fucking giant plaster, whatever the hell it is. Guy, you want a Negro one? Well, then you make a Negro one.
Or a cultural, you know what I'm saying? It's a tanning process. Yeah. So how do y'all get to
It's a tanning process.
that decision so we can look like we're more inclusive and diverse?
Okay, so we want to look like we're more inclusive. What does that mean? Fewer white people. Diverse, what does that mean? Fewer white people. And these conservatives are allowing themselves being to be manipulated by those meme pathogenic concepts.
That's a big elephant in the room on that one. I just want to bring it on out because
Well, the big elephant in the room is you, honey.
I keep getting asked that question.
I think you've had too much Texas barbecue.
That's a question I've never been asked, so I'm not quite sure I know the answer off the top.
See, another one, another conservative playing ignorant. It is look at the year we are in. It is 2026. Conservatism was founded in 1950. How many decades do we have to go of failure from these cuck maggots? How many decades do we got to go? Still, I'm not sure. I've never been asked that before. Can we change Big Tex? Can we make him into Big Chucker? What can we make him? What can we make him?
Top of my head, I know that we have a company that has built Big Tex, and they built him to this.
And so here's trying to change the subjects. They built him to specific specification. Now, we didn't come up, obviously. Our conservative cells did not come up with the specifications that he had to be a white man. God almighty, we wouldn't have done that. We would have made him Jerome.
Specifications based.
So they're going to put it off on the specifications. You see, how many is Go Free not a godsend? I've explained this for decades. They're going to put this off on abstractions, put this off on data, put this off on specifications, not coming to your own defense. That's the only defense that you're left with when you won't come to your own defense.
Based on what he has been historically, and
it hasn't worked. What he has been historically, well, this is a changing country. So he should change with the times. We're not going to be stopped in the past. We're not going to be mired in the past.
Unfortunately, we had the incident where he burned in 2012, and we had to rebuild from scratch, and they built him to look.
Bro, she just wants white erasure. You dickless wonder.
Like he did previously. So.
All right. Well, could y'all?
Well, they built him like they did. So it wasn't up to me. Must be some evil white people over there. They built him to those same specifications.
Look at that, because Beyonce is changing the way we perceive.
Oh, Beyonce is changing the way. Gigantic ass like 2 Volkswagens stitched to the back of a human body is what Beyonce done for Texas is supposed to be.
Texas and Big Tex and all things Texan. So
maybe Big Tex should now be Big Beyonce, and there should be 2 Volkswagens up there, and it gyrates. It twerks. Where does this twerk? I'm pretty sure that it's yet again another illiterate conclusion from this community of people. It probably was she's twitching, but they couldn't remember the word twitch, so it became twerk.
Seriously, I think it would help us just in terms of just standing on the business of being diverse and inclusive, even if it's light brown. I mean, the light brown could...
Even if it is any shade of not white people, even if it's light brown, if it's red, if it's Asian, it did not white. And that's what we demonstrates how morals we are, because we shows that there are no white people. Got you.
DeCarlos Brown Jr. has been found incompetent to stand trial. That's interesting, because he was competent enough to vote. He was competent enough to get on welfare. He was competent enough to get public housing and EBT. He was competent enough to acquire a murder weapon. He was competent enough to slice Irina Zarutska's throat in an instant. He was competent enough to then immediately brag about murdering that white girl. Oh, and DeCarlos Brown was competent enough to stand trial for 14 previous violent offenses and be set free every time. But now that he's facing the death penalty for murdering 23-year-old Irina Zarutska, he's miraculously incompetent and cannot be judged. Welcome to America's justice system.
So this is the kind of rage bait. And she's obviously making tons of money off of this. I'm writing right here. It's anti-whiteism for the love of God. But of course, we can thank the Trump administration. So that's how all of that happens. So you see, she's trying to draw this parallel, these double standards. And what did I just show you about the kind of ears that are hearing about those double standards? They don't care. It's good that Charlie Kirk died, according to them, because he deserved it. It's not good when rapists of children are punished, because you just can't go and punish somebody based on the 5 minutes of their entire life that they raped a child. So she's going to go to them and say, well, he was competent enough for this. He's competent enough for that. And then she's going to get paid by all the simp white garbage that enable her to drive around in that Tesla.
DeCarlos Brown.
Why did we stop caring about beauty? Everybody in this community knows. White erasure of our norms. And finally, this never gets old. I got to admit, I laughed pretty hard the first time I saw this. Female gone dirt bike riding, and she had a little fall down. She handled it a little differently than guys.
Oh, you barely move. Oh, my hip is numb.
I can barely move. Hey, gals, if you think that's not nice, don't try to hang out with the boys. Let's listen to some tunes.
Check your privilege like it's original sin. Jason, load the clip. Nah, check your bullshit, friend. He woke up in the matrix where they teach you to apologize for existing, for building, for having lighter eyes. They say check your privilege like it's original sin. Jason, load the clip. Nah, check your bullshit, friend. He moved like Max Payne, slow-mo on the haters, dodge every sob story. Anti-white, white traitor. They throwing reparations, he throwing facts back. History's complex, you can't paint the whole world black. From Vikings to moon landing, they want you ashamed. Jason flipped the script, now the guilty feel the pain. No victim card accepted at the door. He the final boss of going free. Watch the anti-whites fall. Jason crushed white guilt like Max Payne. Bullet time flow, put the shame in the grave. They trying to chain a mind, he breaking every lane. Anti-white wave, he sink that ship clean. Jason crushed white guilt like Max Payne. No remorse, no guilt, no games. School books full of poison, TV full of lies. Every ad got the message, white equals bad guy. Jason walked through the fire with a stone cold face, turning every guilt trip in your anti-white face. He the antidote, the hard pill in the clip. Why they crying on TikTok, he loading up the ship. No more sorry for my white skin, no more virtue flex. He the hero of truth, middle finger to the hex. From Virginia to Stockholm, the message going viral. White kids are learning shame, revival in the biospirit. Jason Payne flow, yo, a penny real, crushing anti-whiteism under his heel. They want you weak, divided full of doubt. Jason said hell nah, now the tables turned around. No more kneeling, no more crying for the past. Build the future strong. Guilt never lasts. Jason crushed white guilt like Max Payne. Let it bang, let the truth reign. No guilt, no shame, only power in the vein. Is that white positive anthem screaming in their face.
Anglo-Saxon NWG posted that, I think, but that's Stop Anti-Whiteism who made that tune. Great to see you all here today. Thank you for showing up. We have our main news item, one of our main news items to get to. It's Fauci. Did you hear about his little diary? You're going to hear about it now.
In the bitter cold, whoever was controlling the auto pen pardoned Fauci. Why? Did Fauci lobby for a pardon? We'll find out tomorrow when Rand Paul asks him under oath. Did he have a guilty conscience? Well, he did fund gain-of-function research at a sloppy lab where a virus escaped and left 1 million Americans dead. He shut down the American economy on a whim, lied about the vax, crushed kids with school closures, and destroyed the First Amendment. Besides that, he's totally innocent. And we just found his other diary. It goes back to the early 2000s. The theme is the same. He's been on a crusade for power and fame. Dear Diary, extensive interview with Dan Rather, very nice person. We related well, and he told his producer that I was a superstar. The Fauci-meister.
Who would write this about themselves? What kind of a psychopath keeps a 1,100-page diary, a man at his age, and records all of the adulation, the plaudits, and fawns over himself in a diary? This guy did. This guy that was responsible for uncountable numbers of people who had to die alone, family who couldn't get to their loved ones, family who couldn't be there with their loved ones during surgery, who couldn't be there with their children during surgeries they had to have, surgeries that had to be had that couldn't be had, and people who ended up suffering and even dying as a consequence of not being able to have those surgeries, not being able to have those cancer treatments. Look it up for yourself. My opinion, of course. The damage done to the population, not just of the United States, but the world, but definitely the population of the United States as a consequence of this little gerbil freak is endless. And he went before Congress today. But let's hear a little bit more about his diary and the kind of things that this psychotic bitch recorded.
Believed his own press clippings, and eventually he thought of himself as a star among stars. Dear Diary, big surprise was that Bono made a video that was shown in which he lauded me as a true global hero and one of the most important people in the world over the past many decades. Very flattering and in keeping with how kind Bono has been to me over the years. Fauci was a smitten kitten. It was almost as if he thought Bono was seducing him. Dear Diary, amazingly, in the middle of the concert in front of 25,000 people, Bono dedicated a song, Miracle Drug, to me. Fauci was infatuated with himself. Attention was his crack. Fauci's photo shoots for GQ made him feel like he was the belle of the ball. Dear Diary, the fashion editor for GQ decided that he wanted a hip look for me, so he opened my tie and shirt button, got rid of my jacket, and replaced my dress shoes with sneakers. It was very cool.
I really appreciate that he ordered the shutdown of the entire economy. Thousands and thousands, uncountable thousands of businesses went bankrupt. People went bankrupt. People lost their entire savings in the stock market because of him. People couldn't go to church, but you could go to the liquor store. People were getting arrested for going to the beach and going to church and going to Thanksgiving. People were getting harassed. People were forced to get shots that he reveals in his diary that he was injured by. On and on and on. And this, while all that is taking place, while all of it is taking place, where he attends and I think they mention it here, he attends a dinner at a restaurant where everyone at the dinner had to show proof that they had been vaccinated, and he still got COVID there.
Then the pandemic hit, and Fauci was launched into the celebrity stratosphere. Michael Jackson level fame. Most doctors overseeing a deadly pandemic that ripped the country apart would show some humility, would try not to feed into the fame factor, would conduct himself in a professional, sober, and humble way. But Fauci's bedside manner was that of a 13-year-old girl meeting their celebrity crush. And the celebrity crush was himself. Dear Diary, Fauci madness continues with multiple articles and every sort of paraphernalia and restaurant and foods named after me. Fauci devoured the attention like a fat kid in Baskin Robbins. Every compliment, he jotted it down. He went to a vaccination site with Kamala and wrote,
just this level of self-centeredness, of solipsism, this tier of is psychotic level. It's absolutely psychotic.
Dear Diary, as we walked through the different sections, people equally screamed out, "We love you, Dr. Fauci, and we love you, Vice President Harris." The vice president was genuinely pleased to see the attention paid to me as well as to her. Equally. It was almost as if he had been elected vice president. He continued, Dear Diary, meeting this morning at the Pentagon, military officers came over to me wanting selfies. More than one of them actually broke into tears as they were telling me how much they appreciated me. Biden's Pentagon cried when they met Anthony. Not shocking. But Fauci was on a roll and could not be stopped. It was Beatlemania. Dear Diary, there were the usual selfies galore.
Imagine being any age. Now, if you're a female, you could think back and you're like, oh yeah, I would have totally written something like that in a diary. I was the center of attention. It was selfies galore. And then you got a little older and then you stopped being that solipsistic. Only a little bit. But as a guy, there's no point in a guy's life that you would ever come home and write in like a little journal, a little diary. I was the center of attention. It was selfies galore. People were crying to be able to meet me. No guy would ever do that. What kind of mentally deranged midwit ferret is in charge of things across the West?
Fauci didn't complain. He was in no rush. Most doctors fighting a pandemic would skip the selfies and get straight to work. Not him. He bathed in the attention. Deep down, he knew the virus wasn't that deadly. He'd inflated the fatality rate. If he told the truth, the country wouldn't lock down, and Hollywood, who loved being alone in their mansions, undisturbed, wouldn't beckon. Dear Diary, Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear Diary, Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as...
Wait, I got to just... Donald Trump himself could call me, and there was no place that I would write that down and say, Trump himself called me, and he praised me, and I was so important that he decided I had to be called because I'm normal, because I'm not a deranged ferret.
As her guest. What fun. Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan, and we did not have masks. Obviously, Fauci knew the mask mandate was a ruse, but had to keep up appearances. And as we read deeper into the diary, it appears Fauci thought celebrities were sexually attracted to him. Dear Diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage, presented to me virtually by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself.
Who would write that to themselves? Who would write that to themselves? We have to appreciate that this nasty little sexless ferret sat down in his own little diary and was like, she said she gets breathless. Insane anti-whites run things. Absolutely insane.
To go into the kitchen to get a glass of water. Fauci was hot. Later, they had a second date.
How rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have...
Hello. Hi there.
She is an actress.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is a thrill for me. You truly have emerged as a personal hero for me.
Fauci wrote about that, too. Says he was a little embarrassed when Julia Roberts said, oh, my God, it's Dr. Fauci, but he did like being called her personal hero. Stars will call you a hero if you let him stay home from work. Hollywood got a 2-year vacation thanks to Fauci's orders, so he made a lot of friends in high places, even though most American lives were being throttled.
An important thing that shouldn't just be overlooked is that anti-whites of all tiers loved this guy. Isn't that fascinating? What really did he facilitate? Well, he facilitated the theft of the election, didn't he?
Which is odd because we don't hear a lot of concern about the death toll in the diary, the anguish, the depression. We can't find the part about how upset he is about destroying senior years in high school or freshman years in college, or how he felt about putting small businesses.
Yeah, what about all of the hundreds of thousands of kids who it was their senior year? This is it. You don't get another senior year at college and at high school. This is your last year. It's your big year. You don't get it again. He wasn't writing about any of this in his diary, about how much it upset him to even ruin the senior year for one child, much less hundreds of thousands. Million, I don't know. Millions? None of that. Not a single comment about in his diary that people have been able to find so far about how much it hurt him to destroy the economy, how much it hurt him to have to, like, I had these weighty decisions. I had the health of the population, and I'm convinced that we have to do this. We have to keep people apart, but at the same time, it's destroying them mentally. At the same time, we have children being beaten in their homes because they can't leave, and all of us, the space that families used to be able to have, they can't have anymore, and they don't know how to be together. And now we have family members beating each other. We've got murders within families. We're ruining people's Christmases and Thanksgivings, maybe the last ones with certain family members. We're ruining them during formative years. The weight of this upon my soul and mind is crushing me. Nobody has found anything like that written yet. It's all about, they loved me. I was a star. This person said, Julia Roberts said her throat gets dry. It's all Fauci madness. I've got another dish named after me.
Out of business. We're still going through it, but we just can't seem to find that part. It's mostly just, guess who called me a hero today? We did find Fauci's call logs, celebrities and CNN.
I have spoken to you almost without exception every day. And you have been calling me out of personal concern to make sure that I'm okay, that my wife was okay, that my son was okay. 11 o'clock at night, later, waiting for my show to end, Saturday, Sunday morning, the rare time you have with your family. Why?
Well, first of all, because you're a friend. I mean, we have a professional relationship, but you're a friend.
Fauci was calling Cuomo after dark, eating dinner at Tappers, and being on Joe Biden's guest list.
Mestizo Carv says, remember during COVID when people in New York City were clapping like seals for, quote, medical workers, cult behavior.
While the rest of us quarantined or arrested for going to the beach. Meanwhile, Fauci was out and about and doing more TV than Kilmeade. Here's what he wrote about after he announced he was shutting down the economy. Dear Diary, press conference after was highly attended. Stock market dropped by 3,000 points, the biggest percentage drop in history. He doesn't care about anybody but Anthony.
He said stock market dropped by 3,000 points without saying this breaks me for all time, the harm that this is causing. Just saying it like that, stock market dropped 3,000 points after I closed the economy, almost sounds like a brag, doesn't it? He didn't say it hurts him. Everything else that he's saying here is a brag. So why wouldn't that also be a brag?
He wiped out $4 trillion. But who cares? He's on Zoom with Pretty Woman. It was all me, 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 me. But RFK Jr. says the one time Fauci should have talked about himself, he didn't.
He got vaccinated, a very, very public press conference in January of 2020. And then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody.
After Fauci got vaxxed, he got a blood clot, but didn't tell a soul. Not only that, he denied the vax had bad side effects. He also knew the vax didn't stop you from catching COVID. Dear Diary, I was nervous all night about having gotten infected in that very crowded restaurant, despite the fact that vaccination proof was required to get in. I'm well aware many people who are vaccinated are still getting infected, and that worried me a lot.
So imagine that he gets the shot, gets a clot, a blood clot in his lung, which is an expected outcome of these shots, and he told no one. He went and got himself treated by the best doctors in America and then continued to push the shot on all of us.
But Fauci told the public that was impossible. The doctor got his shots, got boosted 1 billion times, and messed up his artery, caught COVID, and came down on us for asking questions, like we were nuts. Fauci even parroted the Chinese communist lie that the virus came from a pangolin in a wet market.
Now, in the novel coronavirus, we don't know exactly what that animal was, but some animal, probably in a wet market, where they bring in a variety of different types of wild game, and people sacrifice them, particularly around holidays, like the Lunar New Year. It is totally not surprising that you're seeing the facilitation of this jump from the animal species to the human.
That's not what Fauci was saying the day before. Day before, he said, "Dear Diary, now we know the market was not the source."
Amazing. This little Confederate bastard was out there pushing a shot that gave him a pulmonary infarction that he got treated by the best doctors in America for, continued to push it on you, went public and said it wasn't from the wet market because he knew where it actually came from. But then in his diary saying he knows that it's not from the wet market, but then he goes on the interview the next day and says, oh, it could be this, it could be that, it could be the wet market. This is evil. Biospirit has it right. This is demonic. No, I never took the shot. Crazy. Samuski asking, I hope you never took. Hell no. Hell no.
It was the amplifier. Fauci was even briefed by the CIA at one point that the Chinese government brought viruses to the Wuhan lab, and the Chinese military was doing crazy experiments there. Rand Paul, who's going to grill him tomorrow, said this.
You know, the CIA, the FBI, Department of Energy all believe that this virus came from the lab. And yet we don't have yet any admission from the architect and the most prominent supporter of gain-of-function research. Everybody was extolling Anthony Fauci and saying he was the nation's doctor. No one admitted that he had a conflict of interest, that because he had funded the lab, he had a strong argument for saying it didn't come from the lab.
Everybody knew gain-of-function was dangerous, even Fauci. In his diary, in 2012, he was bragging about getting journalists to kill stories about the risk. 2 years later, Fauci had to pause gain-of-function research in America after a smallpox outbreak at the NIH. But you know what he did? He went right back to it. He just outsourced it to foreign countries and defended it.
You know, there is, I mean, if you completely ban all gain-of-function research, then you're going to interfere with some of the important things we need to do.
Fauci was willing to risk deadly pandemics in a quest to discover a groundbreaking vaccine that he, of course, would get credit for and potentially royalties from. Fauci's been hiding behind his Biden pardon, but tomorrow, it's a whole new ballgame. Fauci goes under the bright lights of Congress, and he'll be under oath. Anything he says that's knowingly false, that's perjury. The Biden pardon can't protect them. Rand Paul says that they have evidence that Fauci destroyed evidence. And if he doesn't answer honestly about what he did, he'll be indicted. And the American people are demanding justice. Former Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said this, injustice is a kind of blasphemy. Nature designed rational beings for each other's sake, to help, not harm one another, as they deserve. To transgress its will, then, is to blaspheme against the oldest of the gods. Tomorrow, Anthony Fauci will have a reckoning and finally realize that he is indeed not a god.
All right, so we're going to take a look at a little bit of video that Benny Johnson showed from today. But I looked up, Marcus Aurelius is absolutely right. He was of course, the Roman emperor, and when it was a long period of peace, I think. And, but then I think there was a plague or something. And after he was the emperor, but I went and I looked up this quote, injustice is a kind of blasphemy. Now, injustice is, or justice is intrinsic to every group of man, what that is. There isn't a cosmic definition. So depending upon where exactly my guess is that he's talking about the white race, the Roman people. So he's saying injustice is a kind of blasphemy. Nature designed rational beings. So the creator, nature, rational beings, the white race, for each other's sake. Nature is rational. So the creator of nature, nature itself, the creator, created beings to be rational, to help, not harm one another, as they deserve. We feel an enormous affront. We feel a great injury as we see Anthony Fauci go without the most sadistic punishment that he deserves, because it's an affront to our biospirit. It's an affront to the very nature of what it means to be a Westman. We don't have to, I don't care how similar other groups of man are. This is who and what we are, or how dissimilar they are in this respect. This is what and who we are, and that's what we have to defend if we're going to be able to recapture our destiny, if we're going to be able to end these the victimization of our people, the destruction of Western civilization. To transgress its will, rationality, in the intrinsic nature of the white race, of nature, the creator itself, Marcus Aurelius says, is to blaspheme against the oldest of the gods. In other words, rationality had to come before everything else. This is the kind of genius that the white race today has no interest in. Marcus Aurelius could be alive today. He was considered a scholar or philosopher king. And he could be alive today, and he could speak to the masses. He could be available to the masses, and they would want nothing to do with him. The white race I'm talking about. They would have no interest in Marcus Aurelius today. That's not a comment on Marcus Aurelius. That's a comment on who and what the white race has become. So, what's likely to happen here with Anthony Fauci? You can all feel it in your bones. Because of the accretion of case law and statutory law that are informed by, in part or in whole, by anti-whiteism, there is an infinite number of opportunities for Anthony Fauci to go unpunished, for Anthony Fauci to dodge justice, to inflict injustice on the rest of Western kind. I think inflicting injustice on the rest of Western kind is worthy of the most gruesome execution that a human being could envisage. But because of the accretion of case law, statutory law, informed in part or in whole by anti-whiteism, over decade after decade, generation after generation, there is an infinite number of arguments, of interpretations of cases and case law and statutory law, an infinite number of outs for the villain, for the demon. And that's why we can look at scenarios like this and all of us immediately feel sickened and completely certain that if you are an animal, an anti-white animal, and you have enough contacts and you are important enough to enough important people and you have enough money that you can inflict injustice on the rest of us forevermore. That's where the system is today. The only reckoning that could baptize this system, that could retake it, is one born out of a victory on the social moral plane. No political victory, no singular leader here or there, but a social moral victory is the only one that can baptize with fire all of this precedence, all of this accretion of evil in case law, in statutory law, that provides endless outs for demons like Anthony Fauci. What's going to end up happening to him? Almost certainly nothing. What will conservatives end up saying? What do they always end up saying in situations like this? Instead of turning pragmatically and with confidence and courage one's face to the actual struggle of the day, and that is against anti-whiteism, instead of turning their face to the one thing that can do any good, but will require courage and honor and will be fraught with strife. Instead of doing that, they choose quiescence. They turn their head away from the ugliness of the epoch, the ugliness of the moment. And in their fecklessness and pusillanimity, they say, God will take care of it. God's not going to do shit. God is not going to do anything. Rest assured. You think you understand. So many Christians and practitioners of other religions that the white race practice, they really think they've got a grasp on heaven and hell and exactly how it works. You have no idea. We can't even begin to comprehend. You probably, and this will shatter maybe what you've come to believe over the course of your life, but there might be a personal heaven and hell, incomprehensible to us, where if you did nothing, Anthony Fauci doesn't get punished in the afterlife.
The COVID virus. Dr. Fauci is somebody who promised that there would be a surprise outbreak in the first Trump administration. He engineered all of this to get us unlimited mail-in balloting and to rig the election against Donald Trump. It's obvious he unleashed a bioweapon on all of us. And now he's unleashed a different type of weapon in the Senate committee chaired by Rand Paul, a failings of lawyers and the Fifth Amendment. So Dr. Fauci brought all these lawyers for a man who's the science, who, of course, is backed up by truth and honesty in the American way. Why do you have 20 lawyers with you? Why did your lawyer sit right next to you? You know, the way these Senate hearings go is it's not like a courtroom. You get totally different rules here in the Senate. When you're subpoenaed, you're the only one who's allowed to talk. You're the only one who gets recognized. If you try and talk or if you're disruptive, I don't care if you're a lawyer, you get kicked out. Security will drag you out. And that's exactly what happened to Dr. Fauci's lawyers in a remarkable moment here. Dr. Fauci's lawyers were physically removed by security.
You're not recognized.
What you can do here, you can see his little weasel lawyer right here. So here's Dr. Fauci, a rat doctor, and his weasel lawyer sitting next to him tries to start yelling at Rand Paul. This happened in the opening minute.
You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be.
This guy, this attorney, is just yelling. This sort of injustice at the highest level shouldn't be tolerated one iota for 1 second. Shut up or you're flogged. Like the standards white people used to have. Shut up or you're flogged publicly. Okay, now you're flogged publicly. Take him away and he will be publicly beaten. That's the way it should be. Instead, they tolerate this mockery of our biosphere, this mockery of our systems, this mockery of what we used to hold in the highest regard and with the deepest dignity. And they can defecate all over it. And that's exactly what Fauci and his team of dozen reporters, lawyers, are doing.
Be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off. But you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him. Yes. All right. But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Nice. And everybody burst into applause. Incredible. So the security got up and actually dragged the guy up and out. Here we go.
No, didn't drag him.
So this Capitol police officer.
Wish they had dragged him. They should have dragged him. They allowed him to collect his things. The security should not have allowed him to collect his things.
Sure. Lawyer is had to humiliatingly gather up all of his junk, tapped the rat doctor.
Could you imagine coming to the conclusion that humiliating Fauci and his attorneys is sufficient?
On the shoulder, and then gets physically
Let the record
pushed out of the room.
No, he did not.
Advice of the other half a dozen.
This is typical of cucks. You know, it's like how they talk themselves up about how good they are in bed.
Attorneys that he brought along today.
And then a crack from Rand Paul at the end there. Fauci arrived with a team of lawyers who attempted to disrupt the hearing. What an utter embarrassment to Fauci and his defenders. Rand Paul just had the Capitol Police drag Dr. Fauci's attorney out of the building because he refused to stop screaming. Correct. Homeland Security, ladies and gentlemen, and Government Affairs Committee has Fauci's lawyers removed from the hearing. Whew. Pathetic. Desperate to escape accountability. And this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to escape accountability by pleading the Fifth. So what does the Fifth mean? The Fifth Amendment guarantees fundamental rights. Again, you do not have to, the government cannot stretch legal rule questions since today.
His publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at
Look at how much he's shaking. Look at how much Dr. Fauci
embarrassing and intimidating me. The only conclusion
Look at that shaking.
I can reach
No.
is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something.
I want to see him up against a wall for the firing squad, and then we can laugh about him pissing himself and shitting himself in fear. And then you take him away and you're like, psych, we're going to do something else. We're more torture to you because this is what he deserves.
Anything that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars.
Yes, that's correct. Dr. Fauci refuses to answer questions as he walks into the committee today, knowing full well that he's going to just plead the Fifth. And he pleads the Fifth. He's pled the Fifth now dozens of times. And he's asked about a binder.
He even pled the Fifth to the color of the carpet, the color of his own tie, everything. He just said he pled the Fifth.
In front of him, in the red folder on your table is a copy of Section 192 of the U.S. Code. The section makes it a crime for a witness appearing under subpoena to refuse to answer any questions pertinent to the questions of the inquiry. Do you have that in front of you, Dr. Fauci? Please.
To refuse to answer any questions pertinent to the question under inquiry. Do you have that in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
I respectfully decline to answer.
Let the record record that the witness has refused to answer whether there's
a ferret has refused to answer
folder in front of him based on his Fifth Amendment right. In the red folder.
Good. I mean, at least humiliate him a little bit. It's so
Benny, this is so Claudine Gay of you. At least humiliate the guy. He's responsible. Even Benny Johnson himself has said responsible for the deaths of millions, the lives ruined of tens of millions, people damaged by the vaccines for life, made into absolute, beyond just handicapped and retarded, just out of their nothing but vegetabilized. And you're like, at least humiliating. What?
Criminally embarrassing. What is going on right now? The wild scenes inside of the Senate.
The great Fournol has arrived. Good to see you, brother. He said there he is, a complete and total badass, no white guilt. Thank you, good sir. Promethean hails to the great Fournol.
Again, if you are such a smart and devoted public servant, why do you need a grant of clemency for all of your crimes?
And he got the auto pin from Biden hours before Biden's auto pin was turned off for all time.
In 2014, during the Obama administration, through to the end of the Biden term, why would you need a grant of clemency? Why would you need to plead the Fifth if you're so innocent? If you're such a unimpeachable voice for science, why would your lawyers need to disrupt the hearing and scream on your behalf and be dragged from the room shrieking and yelling?
That did not happen. Can you just hear Benny talking about his sex life? She was screaming in joy and wonderment. She passed out several times. What? The guy was allowed to get all his belongings, and then the cop didn't even touch him. The cop's like, okay, this way. And he's like, all right, and he shuffled out.
Why? Well, we all know why. Because Dr. Fauci is one of the greatest mass murderers in human history and the single largest mass murderer in modern.
So there you have Benny saying he's one of the most significant mass murderers in all of human history, but he should be embarrassed. We should at least humiliate him.
History. Dr. Fauci.
The motherfucker should be tried in whatever it takes, whatever type of trial, found guilty, and then executed in the most hellish imaginable way. I mean, and I'm sure there are some really sick human beings out there that know exactly how to torture the ever-living shit out of somebody. He's a guy that deserves it.
Fauci is the definition of evil, and unfortunately, it looks like we will not be getting any answers or justice from him today.
Military tribunal.
Perhaps it's time for actual criminal convictions for Dr. Fauci. Again, if he were to ask questions today, if he were to answer questions today, that wouldn't be covered by his pardon.
Which is why he didn't answer any.
Right? He would be lying, and these would be fresh crimes. So this is why Dr. Fauci is saying, no, I'm not going to answer any questions. This is Dr. Fauci's lawyer getting removed.
Tell the committee. That's all I'm trying to tell the committee.
Why did you advise him to invoke the fifth? Sir, why did you advise him for that?
Dr. Fauci has a valid Fifth Amendment privilege, and he has the right to assert it.
And that's what you were trying to say.
That's what I was trying to tell the committee.
Repeatedly, dipshit, and they hurt. You weren't even allowed. I wouldn't even allow him at the table. Wouldn't it be great if I was an actual? It couldn't happen because how many? We got 100 people here, but could you imagine if the white race was not squalid and garbage today? I could get elected as like a congressman. I could be on that panel. I would jump over the desk and physically beat the shit out of the lawyer and Fauci. I would go ahead, file the charge. My constituency would love it.
That's all I was trying to tell the committee.
Why did you?
Okay, well, he's already told the committee that.
Sir, why did you?
You were trying to be a little drama queen, is what you were trying to be. And that's what all of this is. It's so maddening. There's never any justice, but you can't claim your Fifth Amendment right in hell.
There you
There'll
go.
be justice one day.
There you go. There you go. There's the Christian cuckery. There is the conservative Christian cuckery. Turn your face away from what has to be done. Turn it over to the Creator is not going to do that for you. He's not going to punish him for you. Why don't you understand this? In Benny's heaven and hell, Fauci doesn't go to hell. When you turn things over to God that he has given to you to do, he doesn't do it for you. That's not how a creator would work. God dang it. You see what's become of the church because of that thinking. God gave you the ability to do this. That means he's not going to do it. If you do nothing, then in your heaven and hell, Fauci goes unpunished. Just know that. Just know that. You think it's as dumb and as simple to understand as like upstairs and downstairs. That's how dumb human beings are. You can't even begin to remotely I mean, for the love of God, we have people show up here, and you all have witnessed it for the past dozen years. I can explain things as obesitarian as I could make them, and people still don't understand. You think you can understand a divine being? It's upstairs and downstairs, and he'll be put downstairs. No, Aunt B. Maybe Aunt B stands for Benny. No, Aunt B. It's not an upstairs and downstairs. When you give it up to God, he's not going to do it for you. The only things that God is going to participate in, or a creator, will be what you can't do. What's impossible for us. So, Anthony Fauci testifies before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee on Wednesday. Fauci is testifying following the disclosure of personal diaries. Fauci's diaries suggest he misled the public. Not suggest, outright states. I guess that's it for that on Breitbart. So, how does he get away with this? It's the accretion of case law and statutory law informed by generations of anti-whiteism. And now there are endless outs for demons to victimize the white race. Endless outs. No matter how many you kill, if you're anti-white, no matter how many lives you destroy, forget about the ones he just killed. That's a small number to the number that this anti-white Anthony Fauci injured to various degrees. That is the number dead is tiny. You can't get back those moments when you needed that surgery, when your loved one needed that surgery. You can't get back those moments when grandma or ma or dad or whatever it is dying and you can't be there. They have to die afraid and alone. You can't get that back. Nah. Well, one family is showing some courage, ladies and gentlemen. One family is showing some courage. First Lad said, wait a minute, there is an upstairs. These are practitioners. He thinks there's another place to go. I don't have to go to hell. There's a 777 says, there are practitioners of anti-white Christianity. God hates cowards and us as his stewards of creation. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. 777 says, Andrew Jackson. No white guilt is the Andrew Jackson of our age. I will aspire. I will accept that I aspire to be that good, to be that heroic. Listening to this cuck is like listening to a cop tell the story to all the other stand-arounds that arrive on the scene later. It's all over the top myth making. First Lad says, torched first, Jason. Minimum 20 years. You mean like set on fire? Yeah, set on fire and put out, set on fire and put out, set on fire and put out. Fauci isn't scared or shaking. He is angry that he is now viewed as a villain and resentful that he is being worshipped by the very Congress, that he isn't being worshipped by the very Congress he lied to multiple times, says Samuski. So true. Dan is with us. Rapunzel is here. Ivan is here. Celine is here. Ivan is in the house. Bask is here. Zor. Franklinator. Michael is here. Julian. Hyperborean Dream. Good to see. Thank you all for coming by, for stopping by. Ivan the Fatigued is also here. COVID lockdowns have had a disastrous impact on society, not just the economy, but on the norms and standards as well. I think curbside pickup at stores encourages laziness. Well, yes, you're absolutely right. Maddeningly ironic, the ones who rescued the Beagles from the torture labs face brutal punishment. Yet Fauci got away with torture to the death of Beagles. Ah, yes. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Those people are facing serious charges for rescuing the beagles. Yet the guy behind things like experimenting on beagles and gain of function and ended millions of lives and ruined millions more. Cool Papa J Magic is here. Justin McDaniel's in the house. 777 says nearly all laws from the past century, at least, are acts of white erasure. A lot of truth to that. John is here. Hello and welcome. Remember tagging me as these people are. @ no white guilt, nothing touching, and nothing on either side. Jay Bishop is here. Ancestral Wolf is here. All right. Let's continue. Last independent thinkers in the house. Slotz is with us. All right. So, what happened in Hawaii? Isn't this fascinating what happened in Hawaii? I really think we should heed Marcus Aurelius, even though the white population wouldn't today pay any attention. I mean, if Marcus Aurelius were a 100-pound tattoo-covered white female that said "enter," then the white population will probably be interested. But Marcus Aurelius suddenly appear, Bill and Ted's Adventure, bringing back through the time warp. He shows up. The white population would say no thanks. It would be me and you all. We would be totally respectful and interested. But Marcus Aurelius, quote, "Injustice is a kind of blasphemy. Nature designed rational beings for each other's sake, to help not harm one another as they deserve. To transgress its will is to blaspheme against the oldest of the gods." Jason is here. Hello and welcome. All right. A white family, went to Hawaii. They were on a trip and spending their money and having a good time and not being problematic for anybody, just being another white family. Several generations, I think grandfather all the way down to grandson were present, and a bunch of anti-white Hawaiian garbage decided to attack them, calling them haole, which is their slander for white people. California family left in a pool of blood after horrific anti-white attack. Look at how this garbage platform, New York Post, first of all, leaves the hyphen in there, ignorant, but then puts it in quotes. Like, is it real? Is it real? The Hawaiian anti-white garbage all said, let's stomp the haole boys. Let's stomp the haole boys to death. Grandfather all the way down to teenage son. And so the family, though, says they're going to call it an anti-white attack. Isn't that fantastic? That's because of the work that you and this community and I are doing. This does not happen anywhere. They're not complaining. I mean, we're going to read the article in a moment and see. But it's not about how Hawaiians are all garbage and Hawaiian people are all evil and Hawaiian people are all low IQ. And let's look at the data. Let's look on the IQ test. Garrett Taylor. Let's look at the IQ test and see where their IQs are. It's not about all that. It's about, hey, we're white and we were targeted on the basis of our birth. That's you and me. And that's why we're not invited to their get-togethers. That's why we're not invited to their conferences as speakers and the like. That's why we're not. Because we've actually changed the world and they haven't done shit. A California family's Hawaiian getaway turned to horror when its members were targeted as haole boys and viciously beaten by a mob of anti-whites
at a luxury Maui resort, leaving one with a huge head wound. I remember many years ago, learning and then doing a bit of investigation about anti-whiteism in the Hawaiian population. And typically in the white resentment sphere, because Hawaiians are not Jews and Hawaiians are not blacks, they're kind of ignored and nobody cares. Nobody has anything. There's no interest there. I was interested in the anti-whiteism. I was stunned to discover that they are fanatically, there is a huge percentage of Hawaiians that are rabidly anti-white. They hate white people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Some percentage are hardcore anti-white. They resent the ever-living shit out of us. They're anti-white. And you can hear it from them. Now it's on the internet. Back in the day, it wasn't on the internet to hear from them. A violent brawl broke out. It just broke out. Instead of anti-white terrorists attacked a family that was on vacation generationally at 10 p.m. at the resort, where local officers responded to a disturbance involving roughly 30 people. 7 visitors from California. 7. So there were 30 people, and 7 of them were on the defense being attacked. So it was a brawl. Don't you get it? That's how the anti-whites put it. Is anybody else in the white resentment sphere, if they're not Jews or blacks or Arabs, if you're including our brothers and sisters from Europe, then they probably don't care about this at all. Seven visitors from California, ranging from 17 years old to 62, told police they were assaulted after a group of young people allegedly threw chairs and attacked members of their family. Throwing a chair is a deadly weapon. Look at this guy's head, split open, blood everywhere. At least 6 victims suffered injuries serious enough to require medical treatment. By the time officers arrived, only 10 to 15 people remained at the scene, several with visible injuries. The family who has not been named, believes they were singled out because they are white, lowercase w, New York Post, and is urging investigators to pursue the case as a hate crime. We did this. We did this. And this will happen more and more as we continue to have more victories, as we continue to push this lexicon and these dialectics. White people will feel encouraged and emboldened to speak out about our victimization on the basis of our essence, on the basis of our birth. Before us, there was none of this. Before Go Free, there was none of this. Police have not classified the assault as a hate crime, even though they were chanting that they were going to beat the Haole boys, which is their word for white people. Joseph Headfield, family member, said the violence was preceded by racial threats. He described as coming from a woman, an anti-white Hawaiian pig, who was the ringleader, egging on all of the males. She got up in people's faces and said, "We're going to beat up your boys tonight. We're going to beat up the Haole boys."
Haole is a Hawaiian term for people who are not native Hawaiian, Polynesian descent, and is commonly used to describe white people. Hetfield said the attack quickly spiraled, with members of the group allegedly using patio furniture as weapons. The quote, the kids were beating people with the chairs. The kids. One of the family members was struck in the head by a chair while trying to protect family members and got 13 staples to close the wound. So, CRS, Community Relations Service, anti-white entity, maybe doesn't have the budget it used to have. We don't know. Remember, Trump administration talked about, hey, this is not useful. But we never got information. We never got confirmation that they closed the office or totally defunded the office. But remember what I told you all. Even if they do close or defund it, then it will go back into the hands of the private entities that were doing it before the taxpayers were put on the hook for it. But it obviously wasn't enough. I would like to know if this family, I'm guessing what happened was they made their argument that it was anti-white before CRS or the private equivalent thereof were able to get to them. So probably the police showed up and they were like telling everybody and telling the cops and telling reporters or anybody that was present, hey, this was racial. They were calling us white boys and they were going to fight. They were going to beat up the white boys, all of us. And the CRS or the private equivalent couldn't get to them in time. So now that's what's ending up in the media. What we need to have happen, what would be so empowering for the white race is for people with audience sizes like taboo grifters that they have, giant audiences, conservatives like Benny Johnson and so many others, Matt Walsh, to interview this old man that said, hey, this is anti-white, and encourage him to speak the truth that it is anti-white, that they are coming after us on the basis of our birth, on the basis of our essence, that you were targeted for this reason and that other white people can and will be targeted for this reason. But they're not going to do that, are they? They're not going to talk to them. They're almost assuredly not going to talk to them. They're definitely not going to encourage them to talk about how it's anti-white, how we're being targeted. Could you see this garbage? These taboo grifters, they would want them to talk about how awful Hawaiians are or how awful blacks are. And wouldn't you have expected that from blacks instead? That's what they would, because that's the taboo grift. That's the focus that undermines us. So there's no way in hell that they're going to encourage these people to come to the correct conclusion and talk about this in a way that empowers the totality of our race, our deracinated race, to make us a people. And they might not even talk to, they probably won't even talk to them at all. Because Hawaiians attacking white people, who cares? They're not blacks or Jews or Arabs, and that's what we center here in taboo grift land, in white resentment sphere land. That's what we center. That's all that matters. So only one of the 20 plus attackers was arrested. We recognize the significant impact this incident has had on those involved and remain committed to conducting a thorough, fair, and impartial investigation. Well, then you charge all of this anti-white Hawaiian garbage with hate crimes. Don't drag your feet on that. Because if white people were saying, oh, let's just kick the shit out of these island SP and the rest of let's kick the shit, and they did it, they would all be charged with a hate crime. That's anti-whiteism for you. When it's the reverse, nothing to say. Like when I was almost carjacked by 3 blacks armed with a pistol in DC. Police came out the next day, a black police officer. And when I was sharing with this incompetent moron, guy who got a job so that a white guy couldn't get the job, that they were saying white motherfucker to me over and over. He eventually, at his little notebook, he was writing down what had happened. And eventually, at like the 5th time, I said, then they said white motherfucker again. He stopped and he said, are you suggesting this was racially motivated? And I said, well, if it were reverse, if it were 3 white guys and a black guy and they were saying black motherfucker, would you think it was racially motivated? He flipped the notebook closed, put it in his pocket, and said, a detective will have to contact you. And no detective from DC ever contacted me or came back to speak with me again. They just threw that report away. That's the anti-white world we live in. And if you want to change it, then you've got to use the Go Free dialogic. You've got to center the white race. It's not the Hawaiian race or people that are bad. It's the anti-whiteism that is bad. It is the infliction on our people of injuries that is bad. This is a consequence of the demonization of the white race in schools and entertainment. All of the people, teachers, movie makers, TV show, actors who participated, people who funded these things, these anti-white organizations that these race hustler, anti-white race hustlers are at the head of, they are all accomplices in this victimization of the white race. Because for decade after decade after decade, generationally, they have pushed the lies about the anti-white narrative, about the white race. They have pushed the mean pathogenic ideas that instill this infernal bloodlust for people of all races for the white race. But no one else is going to talk about this. Not the Jared Taylors when his conference, not the conference that's coming up in DC in the very near future. None of these places are going to speak about this from the perspective of the white race and centering our people and our well-being. But that is the only way that we're going to take this back. That is the only way we're going to end this victimization. This will just continue. But this is a victory for this community. This has never happened. This does not happen. White people don't come out, and we'll see what happens with this family. We'll see what happens if they decide to reel it in. Maybe CRS reaches them later and they decide to say, well, maybe it wasn't about race. We'll see. But the fact that we see them immediately come out and it ends up being reported that the family is saying it was an anti-white attack is a huge victory. This is how it should always be framed, and it's how it should always be reported. So you know what I wanted to share? Of course, when I was a child, I shared this with you the other day. We're going to be getting to our financial gifts here in just a moment and then getting onto the Rebel Roundtable tonight. I shared the other day that when I was a child, we were taught, and millions of white children have been taught, that when white people showed up to Hawaii, we conquered, we were evil, and so we should feel bad about it. We should be white guilted. We should make amends for it because there was a functioning royalty in Hawaii. And they showed us pictures of the royalty, and they showed us pictures of their palace. It just so happens that they had none of that shit. But this is the kind of stuff that I and millions of other white kids were shown. This was the queen in Hawaii when the evil white race. This is what we were taught. This is how she dressed. This is the queen of Hawaii. We were made to believe that the Hawaiians had European style architecture, clothing, ornamentation, accoutrements.
and that the evil white race showed up and inflicted grievous injury. Here was the Hawaiian royalty before the white man, before we subjugated them. I 100%, look at this, with her parasol, I 100% guarantee that there are white people alive today that were taught this and still believe. And this goes to the point that we made. And I think it was on the space. This is why you should not miss any of our spaces. That we, when the white race as a people showed up in different parts of the world, in order to integrate those populations into the profit that these business people wanted to make, integrate them into an alliance with the state in question, so that that could strengthen that state vis-a-vis other European states. They had to westernize those peoples. Later generations of white people came along and looked at the non-white peoples of the world, westernized to whatever degree, in order for them to be integrated into our systems of economy and warfare and et cetera, and geopolitics. And they mistook that westernization, our influence upon them, for similarity of mankind. You are welcome, those who are willing to heed and hear. So here's some more of the royalty of Hawaii that the white race destroyed. Their garments are really fascinating. Here's the royal, one of their royal rooms. It looks kind of similar to the kings and palaces and queens of Europe. How about the outside? How about their palace here? You know what's really fascinating about the palace? It's obviously Western architecture. You can see it right away. Somehow it was there, though. They had this kingdom there, this royalty in Hawaii before the white man. I had to look up exactly what the architecture is called. It's called American Florentine. Their palace, their royal family and the kingdom and everything, that, by the way, they still have a secessionist movement that says in their secessionist movement, we don't need or want the white man because we have our royalty. The royalty created by the white race. The accoutrements, the dress. That palace was designed by a white guy named Baker who lived in San Francisco. A white guy named Baker who lived in San Francisco. This is the westernization of non-white peoples so that white business people and states, non-state actors as well, could integrate them into economy and warfare. Geopolitics. But this is what we were all taught. This is what we learned. But of course, it doesn't matter to the resentment sphere that a bunch of a white family with 3 generations present were brutally beaten for being white. Oh, I have no doubt a taboo grifter will make a video about it, because it's another way to taboo grift, to rage bait people. It's another taboo to poke. No doubt that they'll do that. And then they'll move right on to the next taboo, to poke the next thing. And they'll talk about the double standards, because that'll enrage you. They'll talk about the 2-tier, because that will enrage you. They'll talk about how unfair it is. because that will enrage you and you'll show up. And if you don't give them money, your ass in the seat gives them money. That's how it works. Let's listen to a bit of music while I find your comments and if there are any financial gifts. Let's hear it for Dude Bro Moment, ladies and gentlemen. He's not arrived yet, but you know he will. Big Promethean salutes to the dude, to the bro, the moment, who will be financially gifting $50. $50. Dude Bro Moment, and he'll be riding for White Wellbeing. Give it up also for Anglo-Saxon NWG, another glorious piece from that hero. Let's keep it going from Dude Bro Moment for $50. All the way over to $25 financial gift from Hyperborean Dream. Hyperborean Dream. Great to see you, brother. Big salutes. Let's get these guys some raucous emojis, can we? 007s. Let's celebrate them. $50 from Dude Bro Moment. $25 from Hyperborean Dream. And Hyperborean Dream showing up over here on Buy Me a Coffee. Be a part of the coffee army. We also have First Last coming in with a $5 bill into the house of Swatch. God bless your brother and good to see you. $5. He says upstairs. It's upstairs. God bless you, man. $5. We also have over here on Premium Rumble, triggering anti-white scum. $2. Thank you so much. He says, thank you, Jason, for your decades of work fighting anti-whiteism. Have you thought about organizing peaceful in real life banner rallies over freeway overpasses? Your website or Stop Anti-Whiteism? I have, and in fact, we've done things like that over the years, and it's potentially we could do more. Thank you for the question. Triggering anti-white scum back again, another $2. Thank you so much, brother. He says, I'm repulsed by 90% of American women today. They are angry, masculine, ran through, and dirty. The 5s think they are 10s. No femininity left. Their misery has increased directly with their rights. Oh, so true. So very true. It has increased dramatically with their rights, with their enthronement. Triggering anti-white scum back again for $1 this time. Thank you so much. $5. $5. He says, Jason, do you think it's possible that the jab
could have harmful or fatal side effects that were race-specific. Harm Western kind's health more. It's possible to do that, but the only data that I've seen on that is that blacks were actually suffering with it quite a little bit, and it might be because of more comorbidities rather than a genetic issue. I think there was also a claim that Asians might end up being harmed more by it or by COVID itself, and I don't think that ever panned out, at least statistically. But it's a good question. Land of the fake, home of the gay. $5 he enters the house of Swash. God bless you, brother. He says with those $5, the anti-white slur, haole, it means breathless, as in we don't have souls. Wow, I did not know that. So when they're saying that we are haole boys, they're saying that we have no souls, that we have no spirits. Anti-white dehumanization of white people. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for the $5, brother. I didn't know, but I'm not surprised by that. And now they're law enforcement will hem and haw over whether or not that is racial enough to matter. Totally epic piece. Bronze bulls are too good for these anti-white monsters, says 777. We're going to be heading over to the Rebel Roundtable in a moment. And you can head on over on X. Join us. You can chat. Cindy Ben is with us. You can chat or you can just listen. It's up to you. Mestizo Carv says, the Hawaiian flag looks familiar, doesn't it? It does look familiar. It's amazing how they were able to come to the exact same dress and architecture and etc. It's just truly amazing. Celine says, justice isn't two-tier, it's anti-white. 100%. RNWF Foster is with us. Hello, hello. Looking for tags. The state is granted the monopoly on force to have justice done impartially, not to keep injustice regarding the anti-white attack on you. Yes, 100%. You are 100% right. Thank you, the great sloths. Now, Jared Taylor does not, well, at least as far as we know. Rocker Red is here. These are strange words. These concepts are strange words. They confuse him. Although we've now celebrated him using a bunch of them, that he said they're strange and nobody should be listening to them. Giuseppe is with us. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Who else do we have? Looking for tags. Triggering Anti-White Scum says, LMAO. I love when you imitate people's voices, then abruptly mid-sentence say, shut the F up. Yes. Yes. I entertain myself that way as well. Well, great to see. Thank you all for coming over. And it's been another glorious Church of the West on a Wednesday. We'll be turning it over to the great Fornull here in just a moment because we will be heading to the Rebel Roundtable. Tomorrow, though, if you can't make it right after we wrap up the gathering tonight, The party continues at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with West Coast Shade, the one and only Dallas Malloy will be holding that space as she is wont to do, and it'll be fabulous. You don't want to miss it. And I hope to see you there. Jerome is with us. Eagle Heart is here. Well, Eagle Heart, good to see you. 777. These Trey Gowdy style grillings are all bread and circus, along with cathartic pressure relief valve for the public. Nothing happens as long as America is under anti-whiteism. Yeah, as long as we're continuing to suffer with the social morality of anti-whiteism, this just continues marching. Toy soldiers right into the kiln. And that's the end of it. You're 100% right. Henry is with us. He says, I heard COVID harmed whites the most and Jews the least, and that it was genetic. I don't know if that was someone just wanting to be anti-Jew, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, maybe. I would think that if anti-white Jews made the decision that they were going to release a plague that somehow could take out white people, but not Ashkenazi Jews, which are genetically very close. Now, that would be amazing in and of itself. But if they did that, it would be Black Plague level. I'm inclined to think that they're not going to have like a crappy, to what could have been done to us. But in any case, remember, we talk about verisimilitude when it comes to our reputations. Does it have the ring of truth? So when we're talking about these things with people we're trying to bring over to White Wellbeing, we would never mention that because that can't be proved and it's going to burn your reputation. Don't share it with the general public. You can ask the question here, 100%. But with the general public, they're going to say, immediately categorize your opinion as useless. So you are too important to have to yourself and to us to have your opinion categorized as worthless. We need you to be absolutely marvelous. And with that, we'll turn it over to a marvelous gentleman, the one and only For Null. We will be continuing the party, ladies and gentlemen, for an hour to two on the Rebel Roundtable. It'll be right here on X if you're watching on X as well. It'll be right here. Don't need to go anywhere. And you can listen or you can participate. We'll be discussing the things we covered here today, potentially in more depth, and some other topics, perhaps. Anything that anybody might bring up. And questions, certainly questions about going free and White Wellbeing. I'll look for you there or tomorrow on West Coast Shade. Roll out.